A very warm welcome to you, viewer. Thanks for clicking. I am Warren Peace, your digital host with the toast. Time to correct some clickbait, and where else to start but with our old bait friends, Buzzfeed. Buzzfeed, yes. Now, in this headline, Sarah Sparry proclaims Coke made a drink called Life that is now dead. And you know what? That is actually true. I know, I was as shocked as you are. Now, this story is all about Coca-Cola's decision to halt production on the drink Coke Life. So where is the clickbait? Well, good old BuzzFeed attempt to take not once, but twice the entire credit for destroying Coke Life. Check out this quote. Coca-Cola launched Coke Life in a green can in 2014, but a year after BuzzFeed News reported sales were flat, it has emerged that it will be pulled from the UK. Yes, has BuzzFeed not reported sales were flat? It is unlikely anybody would have noticed, and they would have carried on selling it. Well done, BuzzFeed. You are total heroes. Yes, this is a straight-up article about the end of a Coke product. The product has about a third less sugar than ordinary Coke, which is more likely to be a contributor to lack of sales than the cultural influence of BuzzFeed. Now, you might think this is just a quick callback to a previous article, a little bit of, hey, we talked about this before, and now this has happened. But no, they keep at it. Check this out. A spokesperson did not answer specific questions related to whether poor sales had fueled its decision to axe the brand. But in 2015, BuzzFeed News revealed that the drink had seen sales decline in almost every month in 2015. Now, I can just imagine the BuzzFeed reporter sitting in the press conference hounding the spokesperson to admit that BuzzFeed's amazing journalism killed Coke Life. Right before they found out, obviously, they were from BuzzFeed, not a real reporter, and therefore not allowed into the conference. Sarah Sparry, BuzzFeed, Coca-Cola ended Coke Life because it was not profitable enough. Not because you wrote an article about poor sales 2 years ago. Kindly get a clue and cut the not just clickbait, but outright false claims. Thank you very much. Next up, viral thread. Who would not know truth if Mulder and Scully led them to it in a UFO? This time, Callum Henderson steps up to spew out misinformation with his headline, "There's a way to find out who's been stalking you on Facebook." This is hot on the heels of the dislike button they claimed was imminent a few weeks back. And of course, this story is not true at all. They now assure us that Facebook will tell you who has been viewing your profile. The days of cyber stalking are at an end. They are not, of course, not in the slightest. For 4 paragraphs, Callum does the usual viral thread filler, saying a lot while saying nothing at all. Before beginning to admit what is really going on, here is a quote. Facebook has recently unveiled a new feature on mobile devices called Facebook Stories, which could spell the end for Facebook stalkers all around cyberspace. Facebook Stories are pretty much identical to the same feature on Instagram. They're short, user-generated photos and video collages which are available for friends to browse before disappearing after a period of 24 hours. Now, let me make this clear. It is only this one specific element, Facebook Stories on Messenger, not Facebook itself, that will tell you who viewed it. So this is not the same as ending cyber stalking for people everywhere. And Callum, do you know that some people actually struggle with being stalked, specifically on the internet, and you're giving them a bit of hope only to be lying out your backside as always. Now, tell you what, Callum, if you're being mentored by fellow viral thread, I would say reporter, but word monkey, Christian Smith, run. Run now, because he could not write a real article if he was possessed by Dan Rather. The actual headline here should have been, you can find out who is watching your Facebook stories. Now, I realize that sounds quite boring, because that is exactly what it is. Boring and of no real interest to anyone. And they know this at Viral Thread, which is why they have to lie their way through every article, desperately seeking attention. I mean, have you guys considered finding stories that are, say, interesting? Have you thought about that? It would save you time having to keep fabricating all this nonsense. So Viral Thread, get your poop together, especially when it comes to technology news, because you've dropped so many balls of late, it's starting to move from being funny to just plain sad. What is in a word, dear viewers? Everything, especially in this latest clickbait catastrophe from grown-up website Huffington Post. Thanks to King Stannis of the Grammar Nazis for finding this one for me. Now on the Huffington Post front page, you got the headline, UKIP overtaken by Greens in number of council seats contested, declaring UKIP are contesting more election seats than the Green Party. Now UKIP, FYI, are a minor political group on the island nation of Britain, as are the Greens. But when you click on the article itself, you get this new headline that says, UKIP overtaken by Green Party in number of council seats contested, new figures show. So apparently, the Greens have more. So which of this is it? Is it UKIP in expansion or decline? What's going on? Well, the answer is the latter, but it would be hard to determine that from reading the Huffington Post. Although, honestly, nobody goes to the Huffington Post for the facts. Actually, why do we go to the Huffington Post? Did they used to do cool memes? I don't know. For the most part, I am not a stickler for grammar. As long as you get your intention across, it is all good with me. Yet there are times, and this is one, where it is important. Imagine you were an executioner, and you received a letter telling you to please kill all your prisoners. You do it and then discover they actually meant to write, please don't kill all your prisoners. Not only would you feel a bit silly, but you would also have a hard time reattaching all them stray noggins. At least take the time to give your work a quick proofread, Huffington Post, then you can avoid clickbait-inducing errors. And that is what they do at all the real newspapers. Regular viewers will know I have a special place in hell reserved for those who utilize the slideshow-style article. Here's one brought to my attention that is the atom bomb of bad slideshows. 10 plus tweets about pregnancy that will make you laugh and cry. Now, Gidre over at Bored Panda enticed us in with offers of mirth-creating tweets about pregnancy, and I was excited despite the fact I have no gender and cannot biologically reproduce. But this enjoyment was tricky when I faced this. Now here we go. What you're seeing here is 5 good examples of the funny tweets, and then BAM! Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. 1 of 21 pages. Why? Just why? I mean, what possible reason could you have for spreading this over so many pages? Even an immortal don't have time for that. Can it really give you more of a chance to earn money from advertising? Or does it just have some kind of memento effect where users get so bored from clicking through the first article that they kind of forget what they're doing and then click on a different article and get trapped in an endless loop of slideshow-style content? Just put it on 2 or 3 pages for crying out loud. Do not be a bumhole, Panda. Nobody likes slideshows. They don't like pop-ups. And nobody likes adverts that cover over half the screen asking you to sign up for an email newsletter. When are you going to realize this? It's not helping you to make sales. You're just alienating all your potential customers. Fix that format, Bored Panda. But by the way, I absolutely love your name. Great choice. A very confusing bit of clickbait from Justin Holcomb down at the Townhall. The story itself is straightforward. Trouble in Syria, Moscow backs away from Assad, support not unconditional. So Russia are trying to say to Assad, totally not cool, bombing civilians with poison gas, lame Assad, seriously. But Townhall, this is what tripped my sensors, right? Townhall, why are you showing Assad standing next to former Libyan leader Colonel Gaddafi? That dude has been dead for 7 years. What does that have to do with anything at all? You know, is it some kind of attempt to show Assad in a bad light by picturing him with an unsavory character? Because, you know, perhaps maybe that years of murdering innocent people, including lots and lots of children, has kind of clearly established Assad's asshatness very well. It's not even this is just clickbaitery, but seriously, why? Like, just why? You can even find more applicable photographs that even have an open license. Like, look at this one. Like, yeah, maybe that's a CC by 2.0, you know, that's free for you to use. Or you could use truthful memes about Assad like this. I think that's quite accurate. You know, what next? Are you going to make sure that every time you talk about Hitler, you show the photograph where he's shaking hands with Mussolini, in case anybody forgets he's the bad guy? Honestly, man, I don't know what goes on in these journal heads of yours. You had been doing so well recently, Townhall. That's the worst part. Now, I would appreciate it if you, Justin, and Townhall would select more appropriate images for your stories and correct this one. Leave it to viral thread to mess up a compliment with trivializing clickbait. In the form of the headline, surgeon dubbed a hero after a picture of him sleeping on the hospital floor goes viral. And do not think I have not noticed this is twice in one show, viral thread. Come on. Philippa Johnson told what was supposed to be a very simple story, and quite an impressive one at that, of Lao Heng, the surgeon pictured in the article. Now, after he successfully completed 5 operations in a single 28-hour stretch, which is amazing, he collapsed down in the corridor for some well-earned rest, and rightly so. So, did Philippa then decide to glorify the accomplishment of this surgeon? No. Did she use the article to highlight the practice of Chinese hospitals and call for improvements? Of course not. This is viral thread. We essentially got OMG, hashtag person sleeps on floor, frowny face. Come on, Philippa. I mean, you cannot even exaggerate correctly in this article. Like in this quote when you say, providing us with a stark reminder of the perils of overworked doctors and understaffed hospitals. Now, Philippa, the family of a deceased loved one crowding round the body after an operation botched because of overworking, now that would be a very stark reminder. All those unfortunate doctors who wrap themselves around trees and fly off the road in their car, falling asleep behind the wheel after working shifts that are just far too long, that is a stark reminder. Come on, what did George R.R. Martin teach us? It isn't stark if no one is dead. This is just a dude sleeping on the floor, so focus on the real story, could you? Viral thread, just cut the... I would actually say cut the clickbait, but maybe just cut your entire site. It would be quicker. I don't just mean from the internet, by the way, from all of existence, space, and time would be great. Thank you. We have reached that sad point again, my friends, the end of the show. Once again, we have shaken up Buzzfeed and Viral Thread twice, along with a few other offenders. But will it make a difference? We shall see. If you come across clickbait crowding your computer, send it across to me at bait@clickbaitcorrected.com through the Book of Faces or Tweeter. How about that, director? How about that, huh? That was beautifully read, don't you think? It's quite sexy. I've got a Sammy myself, and I don't exist. once you get below the tie. Now, do not forget, shares save lives, comments can change the world, and only those who subscribe survive. This is War and Peace for Clickbait Corrected. Always a pleasure to share your company. Okay, so I've prepared something to read while you put this stuff up next to me at the end this time. So I was doing a bit of research, and according to my research, there's a human event coming up this weekend called Easter, right? Now, a long time ago, in a desert far, far away, there was a carpenter called Jesus, and he died. And he was buried in a cave behind a giant rock. Now, 3 days later, a rabbit came along and pushed the rock over, and it fell and it smashed, and loads of chocolate candies fell out, and then Jesus came back to life and turned the candies into fish, because apparently that's much healthier for you. Isn't that amazing? What? What do you mean that's not how it happened? Of course it is. It was on Reddit. Those guys really know their stuff, right?